Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Monday, June 26, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. If you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Monday in Major League Baseball. First up, it's the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Baltimore Orioles. We're going to see two lefties on the mound in this one, Brandon Williamson and Cole Irvin. Yeah, I like the over in this game. You know, the Orioles in the last 30 days have not been the best against lefties, but overall they have solid numbers, and I like their matchup against Brandon Williamson, who's getting an ERA. It's already pretty steep at 5.4, but an even higher 6.72 expected ERA and 5.78 FIP. Doesn't really strike out a lot of guys. His control's been off, and it's given up a lot of home runs, 1.96 home runs per nine so far. And on the other side, Cole Irvin's got a 7.71 ERA, an even steeper 8.99 expected ERA. And, you know, the Cincinnati Reds lineup has just been crushing lefties in the last month, basically all season as well. They're top 3 in baseball and team OPS against lefties in the last 30 days. I like the chances against Irvin. Give me the over here in Cincinnati-Baltimore in the first 5 innings and the full game. Next up is the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the New York Mets. We're going to see Colin Ray and Justin Verlander on the mound in this one. And the Mets have been a big disappointment this season, but I do think this is a pitching mismatch. And the Mets have played better ball at Citi Field. The Brewers have not played great on the road. I like the Mets' chances to earn the win and run line cover in the end. You know, Colin Ray, a 4.88 ERA this season. Not really my favorite option to back on the mound. His last couple of games, he has struggled 10 1/3 innings against the Twins and the Diamondbacks, giving up 8 earned runs combined, a home run, and 4 walks with only 6 strikeouts. So, you know, I do think the Mets will be able to get to him. Verlander, you know, he's had mixed results this year. Obviously, the Mets would not want to see him at a 4.5 ERA as we approach the month of July. But, you know, still, his last outing, he went 7 innings for the Mets. He gave him 7 decent innings, 4 runs in the end. Wasn't enough for the Mets to win that game. But before that, 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Yankees. His strikeout numbers are a little better as of late. His control's been also a lot better, not walking a single batter in each of his last 2 starts. So I like the Mets in this one. Give me the New York Mets on the run line. Next up, it's the Minnesota Twins taking on the Atlanta Braves. We're going to see Sonny Gray and Spencer Strider on the mound in this one. Pretty good pitching matchup in this game. Now, I bet Spencer Strider wished that the month of June never happened. I mean, he entered the month as a pretty significant favorite to win the National League Cy Young Award, and he still has a decent chance of doing so, but a 6.86 ERA in the month of June puts his overall ERA just below 4 at 3.93. His strikeout numbers are still there, though. He's got 30 strikeouts in 21 innings this month, and he's facing a Twins lineup that strikes out a lot against lefties, against righties. You know, a 30.5% strikeout rate for Minnesota in the last 30 days is the highest in baseball by about 3 percentage points. So really, this Twins team, when they're facing starters that are, you know, strikeout dependent, I don't really love their chances offensively. And Strider is in pretty good form going into this game. He had a nice bounce back outing against the Phillies, 6 innings, 1 run, 9 strikeouts in his last start. So I think that Strider will put together another quality outing here. Sonny Gray, we've mentioned all the time, you know, he's a good starting pitcher. He's 4-1 with that 2.56 ERA, but he does have some control issues, and he, you know, I would say he's a strikeout dependent guy. His pitch count usually goes up pretty early in games. That's why we've seen the last few starts 5 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings for Sonny Gray. Doesn't really pitch deep into ball games, and the Braves are just crushing right into pitchers right now. I mean, they've got you know, probably the best lineup in baseball right now. You look at their numbers in the last 30 days: number 1 in baseball in team OPS, number 1 in isolated power, pretty low strikeout rate against righties. So I think the Braves will be able to get to Sonny Gray. I also don't think he's going to pitch deep into this game, so I don't love this Twins bullpen going the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings of this one. I think it's a bad matchup for Minnesota in Game 1 of this series. I like the Braves here on the run line at home. Next up, it's the Detroit Tigers taking on the Texas Rangers. Matthew Boyd and Andrew Heaney are your starters. I don't love a lot of the underdogs on the board for Monday's card, but I do think the Tigers could be the more valuable dog on, or the most valuable dog on the board. As you know, the Tigers have hit lefties very well in the last 30 days. They have a high walk rate, which is a good sign to see against a starter like Andrew Heaney, who has had control issues in his career. They have a low strikeout rate, which is important against Heaney. He's a strikeout-dependent starter. He's got 76 strikeouts and 72 in the 3rd innings of work this year. So if the Tigers are limiting those strikeouts and getting on base via the walk, their matchup is pretty solid. And you know, on the other side, they have a good isolated power number in the last month. They're ranked 7th in baseball in that statistic. Their OPS is top 15 against lefties in the last 30 days. So this is actually not too shabby of a matchup for the Tigers offensively, which, you know, this team has not been the best offensively the last couple of years. So, you know, you'll take those good matchups when you get them. On the other side, Matthew Boyd's been a lot better on the road, believe it or not, than he has been at Comerica Park. And, Comerica Park's kind of known as a pitcher-friendly ballpark, especially because center field is so deep. It's about 420 feet to dead center. But Matthew Boyd's got a 7.49 ERA at home and a 3.44 ERA with a 4-0 winning record in 36 2/3 innings on the road. He's got 44 strikeouts on the road, a much lower opponent's batting average. The Rangers are a tough team and a tough lineup, but I do think they're a little bit overvalued in this game. I don't really love Heaney's matchup, and I also don't love this Rangers bullpen, so I'm going to take the Detroit Tigers here plus the 1.5 runs on the road. Next up is the Chicago White Sox taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Dylan Cease going for Chicago. No official starter for the Angels right now. I'm seeing Reed Detmers on certain sites. I'm seeing Jaime Barria on other sites. So we'll have to see who the official starter is, but I do like both of those options in this game. The White Sox over the last couple of years were known to be hitting lefties very, very well, but this season, and especially in the last 30 days, not so much. I mean, the team's ranked 20th in baseball in team OPS, right around league average in strikeout rate and isolated power. So I do think either option for Los Angeles will be a good one in terms of pitching. But in terms of offense, I don't really love the Angels matchup here against Dylan Cease, who's pitching well in the month of June, 22 2/3 innings, a 2.38 ERA with 32 strikeouts and only 2 home runs allowed. And it's an Angels team that has no days off between their Coors Field series with the Rockies and this series against Chicago. So we know that usually the first game back from a Coors Field series, sometimes the first few games back for a team, their offense usually is a little bit sluggish because of the change in altitude. So I'm going to take the under here in Chicago, Los Angeles. I think we see a low-scoring pitcher's duel. Next up, the final game for Monday's card in Major League Baseball. It's the Washington Nationals and the Seattle Mariners. Trevor Williams and Luis Castillo are your starters. Luis Castillo, a good option here for Seattle on the mound. Facing a Nationals team, it's not been great against righties in the last 30 days. Castillo, overall this season, has been much better at T-Mobile Park, where he's got a 2.03 ERA in 53 1/3 innings at home, 67 strikeouts, and a very low opponent's batting average of 169. It makes sense. T-Mobile Park, one of the more pitcher-friendly ballparks in baseball. Trevor Williams has not been great on the road this year, 4.42 ERA away from Nationals Park. He's also just been very inconsistent. I mean, he's been good in the role that he's had. 4.14 ERA. He's given the Nationals 70-plus innings. He's definitely been a good contributor for this team, but he doesn't usually pitch too deep into ball games. The bullpen for the Nationals, not my favorite, that's for sure. It's been one of the worst bullpens in baseball. So I do think the Mariners have a pretty big advantage in this game. I'm going to take the Seattle Mariners on the run line to end the night. And that's it. Those are the games in baseball for Monday. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.